However, I'd like everyone to be muted except for you and myself. That's your call.
I've never had them in a regular meeting. They just kind of raise their hand or turn on their button and I call on them. So I can see everybody here. If they raise their hand, I don't have a problem with everybody listening and everybody be involved in all of it. That's the way it is at a regular meeting.
Okay.
Okay.
Sounds good to me.
Everybody in agreement with that?
Yes.
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 And if you raise your hand, I'll call on you.
Ken, I am going to be ready in about 60 seconds.
Okay.
You
You let me know. It's 6:30 now, but another 60 seconds is not going to harm anybody.
Can everyone see my screen?
Yes.
Oh, nice.
Yes.
Nice.
Yep.
I'm ready, Ken.
All right. I'd like to welcome everybody to the meeting and ask that you join us in the pledge. Pledge allegiance to the flag.
The flag of the United States of America and to the republic which is stands
One
one nation,
Everybody is justice for all.
justice for all.
All right. Very good. Roll call, please.
Sorry, guys. Ken Sharp,
Present.
Commissioner Ruby Richards,
Present.
Deanna Adams Stachow,
Present.
Lori Wilson,
Here.
Andrew Spizak,
Here.
Michael Williams is excused, David Rappaport is excused, and Sam Durante.
I'm here. Sam, I'm here.
Sam,
here.
Very good, Michael.
okay, Sam is excused, Michael is here. And Deborah Folks.
Present.
Approval of minutes, please.
So moved.
All right, and this will be the minutes from the March 3rd meeting. That's so moved by Commissioner Spizak, and then the second by
Support it.
Commissioner Wilson. I think everybody that's here was at that meeting. All in favor, say aye.
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 No, you have two new ones that I have to abstain.
We abstain.
Oh, I'm
Abstain,
sorry, that
abstain.
is true. Yes, we got two abstains, and that is our two new members. My apologies. And that's Commissioner Richards and Commissioner Adams Stackhouse. We will move into our first case, which is public hearing. It's case 1690T, proposed site plan for Kroger gas station 36420 Ford Road. Mr. Ayu.
Thank you, Chairman. The subject site here is located, let me move to the aerial, is located on the north side of Ford Road, west of Central City Parkway. The site is about 0.85 acres and contains the former Lone Star restaurant, currently vacant. The site is part of a larger parcel zone PUD, this area here. Called the Central City Plaza Planned Unit Development. It comprises of about 34 acres. The petitioners are requesting site plan approval to demolish the existing building and construct a Kroger fueling station. The property is currently owned by the Kroger company and is sometimes used as a training base for new hires. On June 21st, 2010, the City Council denied the request for site plan approval for a proposed Kroger fueling station. So the land use is the same. There have been some modifications to the site plan that was denied. Some site plan information. The proposed site plan, as proposed, complies with zoning ordinance regulations. The building canopy proposed will include a 198 square foot kiosk building, your typical Kroger kind of outhouse housing the clerk and some retail products. with a canopy 126 feet by 43 feet. Parking, the site plan submitted by the petitioner proposes a major reconfiguration of the existing site as you see it today. All these parking spaces, in addition to the building, are going to be removed. Only 4 parking spaces will remain approximately in this area over here, and there will be an individual parking space for each fueling station. So the requirement is 14. They're providing 15, along with a 10 by 70 loading zone. I'll go to the site plan right now so you can see what I'm talking about. The loading zone is going to be in this area where the storage tanks will be located. Here are the 4 individual parking spaces. Access and curb cuts. As mentioned earlier, the site's going to have shared access. We'll continue to have shared access with the Kroger. There's no additional curb cuts being proposed. This is the primary in and out for the gas station. You can see turning radiuses here for the fueling truck, as we discussed earlier. Significant landscaping is being proposed. This was something that was requested during preliminary meetings with the applicants. Landscaping primarily along the Ford Road frontage is being increased. We'll propose, in addition to the decorative fence, which extends along this area right here and stops in approximately this area that was installed by the city. They are proposing to increase the length of it along Ford Road down approximately here. Before I share these images with you, just some considerations that the planning commission or planning department, I'm sorry, considered before making the recommendation. The proposed fueling station design will be identical to the Kroger fuel station located at 44421 Ann Arbor Road in Plymouth, Michigan. This design was identified as one that's unique in Southeast Michigan, primarily incorporates significant improvements along the right-of-way, such as landscaping and architectural design that's not seen in your typical Kroger gas station. So we requested the city to have Kroger design the site in a similar fashion, and they complied. The reimagined Ford Road DDA action plan does acknowledge the fact that there are significant amounts of auto-oriented uses along the Ford Road corridor, and calls for an action plan to decrease some of these auto-oriented uses throughout time, incorporating zoning restrictions. And while gas stations are not specifically identified, auto repair shops, auto sales, and drive-through restaurants are. It's safe to assume that gas stations are part of that or auto-oriented land use cluster. Fueling stations are generally viewed as unfavorable land uses because they contaminate property and also are difficult to undeveloped if they become vacant, oftentimes become abandoned or blighted before there's an opportunity to redevelop or convert. There's also typically an excessive amount of curb cuts. However, that concern is mitigated here without any additional ones being added. As someone had mentioned earlier, Westland has about 35 gas stations. I think it's closer to 33. Over time, they have been decreasing as gas stations add additional pumps, as these large shopping centers have their own gas stations that cater to their shoppers and other factors involved in the gas station industry or fueling industry. So I just wanted to point that out. While the impacts of the Kroger gas station on the local gas stations operation right now are unknown, it is probably reasonable to expect an impact on sales will result in the gas stations within close proximity to this one. I'm not sure what that will mean. However, there may be an ownership change, renovations that are forced to be made on the other gas stations in town to make them more competitive, or some may even close. And the last thing that we considered is the fact that owner owns the site. They've owned it for at least a decade now. and are either interested in turning this blighted, rundown, or I'm sorry, blighted, vacant restaurant into a gas station, or continue using it as a training facility for their staff. So based on that, the planning department and administration are recommending approval with the contingency that this sign in this area is either removed and replaced or upgraded. Really quickly, I'd like to share some images, renderings that Kroger has provided. This is a bottom looking view, the additional landscaping, and while they're proposing to add outline of the canopy, kiosk, fueling area, additional landscaping, and parking areas. This is what the Plymouth location looks like, exact design that they've copied. Here's some additional landscaping like that from that angle, with that hip roof design, brick columns, and an extension of the decorated wall. This is what it looks like today. This is along Central City, Ford Road and Central City corner. There's that sign I was talking about. This is where all that landscaping improvement will happen. That's what the building looks like today. Chairman, that's all I have. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Avery. I see that Commissioner Rappaport has joined our meeting also. Is the petitioner in a position to speak now? Do we have a petitioner?
I did see the petitioner on the call.
Pardon?
I did see the petitioner on the call. It looks like there's two participants that have their hands raised.
Okay, well, I see Commissioner Rappaport has clicked his button too, and somebody else, but I don't see who it is.
Can you hear me now through the chair?
Okay, yes.
Bless your heart. All right. If I may, my name's Matthew Pisco, representing the Kroger Company of Michigan. I present for them all over the country. It's nice to be back home again. I'm a native son of Westland, having gone to Cady Elementary, Adley Stevenson Junior High, John Glenn, and I've eaten my body weight in braised burgers in my lifetime. So it's very nice to be back home. Through the chair, if you'll indulge me, I'll give you a real quick recap of Kroger nationally and their fuel program. Kroger operates over 1,500 company-operated fuel stores from coast to coast in 37 states. They're a bona fide petroleum marketer. It's a publicly traded company. They're very risk averse, are good neighbors, and are very forward thinking in their design, operation, and their safety record is exemplary. Which leads in their design, their underground storage tank system, everything about them is state of the art. In a micro operation, how it'll affect Westland specifically. This is very different from a traditional gas station / convenience store, even different from some of our competitors, Costco per se, which is a private club where you have to be a member to buy fuel there. This is open to the public. We do give discounts for customer loyalty, 10 cents a gallon for every $100 spent. That can be used for discounts on fuel, and they have periodic updates to those for other incentives. But it is not a traditional convenience store gas station in a variety of ways, which I'll quickly describe. The fuel operation, the kiosk and the pumps can only operate while the Kroger grocery store is open. It can't be run independently without the store being open. The store hours, they're temporarily affected by COVID-19, but traditionally they're from 0600 to midnight. The fuel stations typically open a half hour after the stores open, and they close the till a half hour before the store closes, or if in the event the store is slow, they'll close even earlier. All the transactions, if you can imagine this fuel kiosk is essentially another category for the grocery store. It's just like the deli, the meat counter. It's an extension of the grocery store. It's staffed by very highly trained folks from the Kroger store. All of them are company operated stores. They're not franchisees or dealers or distributors. And again, unlike a traditional convenience store, this is less than 200 square feet. So it has very limited sales. Most transactions occur at the dispensing islands via credit card. Traffic, Mr. Ayub mentioned that a vast majority of the traffic, 60% across the national average, comes from existing trips in the existing shopping center after shopping. But we do cater to the street. That's how we're different from Costco. So we have traditional price signs like any other petroleum marketer. Now, very, very site specific. Obviously, as Mr. Ayub said, we're redeveloping an existing parcel. The Lone Star Steakhouse was transformed to a training center, but that activity has been moved elsewhere. So the building is essentially vacant. We're going to utilize the existing curb cuts. We're reducing pervious paving, removing 42 parking spaces, leaving 4, which is all that is necessary for the operation, and increasing landscaping substantially along Ford Road and Central City Parkway. Architecturally speaking, when you look at the rendering, if you can pull that up, the perspective rendering, either one, the object is, people know that we're here, or we would either if we're approved, and you can look through the canopy to the main grocery store. That's our convenience store. And if you look at the design of this fuel station, it mimics the architectural details of the store in the brick bands of different colors, along with the color palette on the canopy, and has a mansard roof. We've replicated the existing streetscape elements and extended those down Ford Road. That opening you see is essentially a pedestrian access to the shopping center. So we left that area. One thing that I know is an area of concern is how this affects other fuel stations. And we look at this in the same way when a large competitor, a Walmart or a Costco, gets plunked down by us. Obviously, we notice it, but you have the benefit of another Kroger fuel station at Cherry Hill and Merriman, and which we participated in along with another Kroger at Middle Belt and Warren. And all of those fuel stations that were up and down the road are still in existence. We don't kill the street. So I know that's a concern, but we're a company-owned, operated, conscientious company. We would like your support. We've spent millions of dollars in the city of Westland in our 4 locations to support us and help us. This helps our customers. It's a convenience for them. It helps keep them in the Kroger family, and we appreciate your consideration, and I'm open for any and all questions. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Thank you. This is a public hearing, so we're going to open it up to our listening audience. And I see Stephen. Are you on the speaker? Hamade? Stephen, I see you raised your hand.
Unmute yourself.
Hello?
Hello, is this Stephen?
Yeah, can you hear me?
Yes, I can.
Okay. Mr. Sharp, can I speak now?
Yes, you can.
All right. I would like to speak on behalf of the public and also local business owners in the area. And I can tell you that my experience with
Steve, we lost you.
We lost you, Stephen. Stephen, are you still there? Stephen?
And what they did to me, to my fueling site, to my gas stations that I've owned for 30 years in the area is devastating. They take away basically 100,000 gallons per site, if not more, because they have unfair competition, which is they sell gas below cost, which they can afford that, but local businesses can't. And you have 4 gas stations in front of this location, and then probably another 4 behind it. So if you can just imagine what's going to happen to the local small business man that is operates on a very very tight budget, and who employs local employees and been around for a very, very long time, who know their customers by name and are very, they give a very positive taste to the community. Where Kroger comes in, and I understand, what they do. They're in it for one-stop shop all for their customers, but it devastates small business locations that have been there since forever, probably. And like the gentleman said, some may close, some may have to, if they can afford, resharp their tool. But one thing they can never do is they can never compete with Kroger, no matter how nice their location is, because they don't have the deep pockets that Kroger has. That's my personal experience with that. I'm against, as a local businessman, I'm against Costco's and Kroger fueling sites and and Walmart fueling sites, Sam's Club, because they put the small business essentially out of business, the small gas station owner out of business.
All right. Thank you very much, Stephen. Thank you for your comments.
Thank you. And I would like for you to take my comments in consideration, Mr. Sharp.
We will definitely do that.
Thank you so much.
You're welcome. And I see Donna has got her hand up. Donna, would you like to speak now? Donna, are you there?
Can you hear me?
Yes, Donna. Go ahead.
Okay. We just wanted to say, actually, I got a couple questions, couple comments. Thank you to Lori for making the comments she did before the meeting started. And Stephen now, we have concerns, the neighbors have concerns down the street with the amount of traffic that this will bring in. Are the gas stations around us, have they been notified that this is a potential possibility? I feel for them. I shop at Kroger, but it's not all about the fuel points. It's having it here, having the amount of traffic. And with the traffic that we already have around here, we have 4 gas stations literally within a mile of us. And is it really necessary and needed to have another big corporation gas station? Do you have anything?
Anything else, Donna?
Pardon?
Anything else you wish to add?
No, not at this time. Thank you.
Thank you. Is there anyone else in the listening audience that would like to speak? Anyone else? We'll open it up to the commission. Commissioner Wilson.
Good evening. My question is through the chair to the Kroger's representative. I understand, because I live on this end, there's a Kroger's at Merriman and Merriman and Cherry Hill. Is there going to be any kind of improvements done to that site? Michigan Avenue, the Kroger's there, period, it needs to be improved. Are you going to do, as opposed to putting in this gas station, can you improve the property at Michigan Avenue and Merriman also? Also, there is a Shell gas station at the corner of Newburgh and Ford Road that receives and uses Kroger points. Why do you feel it necessary to put an actual gas station to go in competition now with the Shell gas station that, to me, I think it's a little, and this is my opinion, oversaturation. That's it.
Commissioner Rappaport, I see you had your hand up.
Yes, Commissioner. Sorry. I was interested in hearing the answers to Commissioner Wilson's questions before I asked questions of my own. Is that possible?
Questions to Commissioner?
Lori asked some questions of the petitioner.
Yes, can you still hear me?
Yes.
All right, through the chair, if I may, Commissioner Rappaport's questions regarding capital investments, I can give historical numbers for investments in those stores. It was 1.287 million was spent between 2016 and 2020 at the Merriman Road and Shenandoah location. The Middle Belt.
Wait a minute, I'm sorry. Did you say Merriman and Michigan Avenue?
Store 456. I believe that's Merriman and Cherry Hill.
Okay, that I was asking about the gas station. Yes, they did.
That's the one that has the fuel station adjacent to the Burger King. It's in the front. And quite honestly, I remember your question about Shell Newburgh, but I don't remember what was the concern about the fuel station at the existing Kroger.
My question was, why do you find it necessary to put in a new fuel station if there's a Shell gas station less than a half mile from this area that already accepts Kroger's points? And do you have any plans to do any kind of renovating of the store at Michigan Avenue and Merriman? It needs some improvements. You answered the question on Cherry Hill with the 1.2 improvement. I understand that, but I'm talking about the one that is just north of Michigan Avenue.
Okay. Through the chair again, thank you for clarifying that. I cannot speak to what capital improvements are going to occur at the store on Michigan Avenue. Regarding the Ford Road and Newburgh and why we need this one, the Shell partnering with Kroger is not the full spectrum. At the Kroger fuel station, you can get up to $1 discount with frequent shopping and spending patterns. So it's a wholly different program. And quite honestly, it's in our parking field. We have an existing parcel. We can improve it and make it where it's very simple and safe for our customers. And that's our most important. They're Westland residents. So we look out for them. We're family oriented. We have a lot of initiatives within the communities, specifically these stores, and are very charitable. So it's for the benefit of our customers and for the benefit of our store.
Okay, I understand that, but I'm a customer at Merriman and Michigan Avenue. So if I want to go to a cleaner store, a more upbeat store, a more improved store, I have to go all the way up to Merriman and Cherry Hill. I live in Van Born and Merriman. So I just would like to see you make some improvement to that store as opposed to putting up this gas station. If you could check into your capital improvements to these buildings, that would be good. And I understand that you're charitable to the city of Westland. That's great. Be good to their citizens. I'm one of the citizens too. That's all I'm asking.
All right, thank you, thank you. Craig, are you still in listening view? Craig, are you still there?
Yes, sir.
I don't have a full screen like I had the other day with everybody's name. What I have is squares with images in them. And I can't see all of the people at the same time. I see your hand, Donna, or Deanna.
Yeah, okay.
So Craig, how do I get to that screen?
Mo would have to stop the screen share.
Pardon?
I can do that. Give me a second.
Okay.
That, did that work?
Hi there.
That's it. Thank you very much.
No
Much
problem.
better, much better. Okay. Now, Deanna, you wish to
Yeah.
speak?
Yeah, through the chair to the Kroger representative. So I was under the impression that you were still using that building as a training area. I drove past there and saw that there is a sign in the window that says that this is Kroger training. Now, I believe you mentioned that that no longer is a training area and that you've moved out already from there, so it's a vacant building. And if that's the case, do you have any plans of taking and making that again a Kroger training area, or are you going to leave it abandoned?
Through the chair, if I can, Commissioner Satchel, my understanding is that the existing training center is closed, and we're evidenced by this hearing. We're endeavoring to have that raised and install a fuel center. I can find out from corporate if it will remain the training center, but right now it is vacant.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you. Michael Williams, did you wish to speak? Commissioner Williams?
Some of the questions I have been answered already.
Rep
Thank you.
has his hand up.
Yeah. Anything else you wish to add?
No, not at this time.
Mr. Williams?
No, not at this time.
Oh, not at this time? All right. Anybody else with questions?
Chairman Sharp, may I be recognized, please?
Yes, sir. Commissioner Rappaport.
Thank you very much. I didn't mean to give up my opportunity to speak to make sure that Lori's questions were answered. I have a few of my
Very
own.
good.
And before I begin, I'd just like to make sure that that our petitioner understands that we are very, very happy and pleased with the contributions that Kroger has made. But this is definitely an administrative hearing. We want to make sure that all of these concerns are aired and heard. And while I remain a little ambivalent on my ultimate feelings on whether this is a necessary and good improvement for the city, I do have some questions that I'd like to have covered. And the first one, I guess, is best directed towards our planning director. So this is not the first time that we've actually been asked to approve a gas station for this particular site. I seem to remember a number of years back, this was brought before the planning commission, before my time actually on the planning commission, and brought before the city, the city council, and it was rejected. Now, I guess my question is what has changed from the issue then to the situation that we have now? Or is this just simply Kroger trying to take yet another bite at the apple until we eventually say yes?
You're correct in saying that this is not the first time. I believe it came before the Planning Commission in May of 2010 and definitely to City Council in June of 2010, where City Council denied the project. In addition to the change in years, I mean, it's been almost a decade since. I can imagine that Kroger is probably taking another stab at it. I'm sure there's some significant changes that have happened in the market over the past decade. It doesn't look like Kroger has done improvements to the building. So it's probably safe to assume that they're taking another stab at this fueling station. There have been significant changes to the site plan that were mentioned throughout the summary of my report, though, mostly being that the administration located a Kroger gas station that has significant landscaping and site improvements to enhance traffic and pedestrian flow, and that was the Plymouth model that we encouraged them to copy, and that's the site plan that they're proposing here in Westland.
Okay, so as I recall, the issue in, I believe it was, you are correct, I believe it was 2010, was that we already had that area well serviced with quite a number of existing gas stations, including the two on the corner of Newburgh and Ford Road. And just down the way, the Meyer gas station, which I probably will be mentioning again on the other side of the argument, was part of the decision in 2010 because of the location of the city hall at that time.
So if that question is directed to me, I was not here. However, I've done a lot to try and learn in addition to speaking with commissioners, also speaking with administration, staff, and some city council members. The city had done a study similar to the planning study that was just recently completed by McKenna for the Ford Road corridor called Reimagine Ford. And that is a study that tries to incorporate land uses over time and assemble them to create a city center district similar to a walkable downtown atmosphere where the city hall used to exist. In addition to that, the study also did an inventory of existing land uses in the area and along Ford Road between Superior City and probably Central City. And it was, I mean, it's pretty obvious. It was concluded that there are a ton of auto-oriented uses, more than you'd like to see on one of your high visibility roadways that are bringing traffic in and taking it out. So it was encouraged that the city modify zoning ordinances to restrict auto-oriented uses from being able to establish themselves along the Ford Road corridor. Primarily, it referred to auto repair uses, and there were a couple other ones. Gas stations was not listed, drive-throughs was, auto sales was. However, it's probably safe to assume that gas stations should also be included, especially since there's 4 within a mile, and that's just counting the ones along Ford Road from this site. So that's probably a combination of reasons why the city council denied in 2010.
Any other questions, Commissioner Rappaport? I see Commissioner Spezak wishes to speak also.
I still have a few items, but of course I don't want to hog all the time. If I could have the floor again, I'd be happy to cede it right now.
Commissioner Spezak.
I just want to rectify one thing. The Planning Commission passed the first.
Correct.
Just so Mr. Rappaport knows, we did not reject it. The Planning Commission.
2010, the Planning Commission did pass that. City Council denied it.
Yes.
All right.
Okay. Now, Mr. Rappaport can have the floor.
Commissioner Rappaport, back to you.
Oh, thank you very much. So once again, and I do understand that it was forwarded by us. There's honestly no reason not to. because once again, this is an administrative hearing, not an actual determination of whether this is a good or a bad idea for Westland. But I did actually want to make sure that we vetted this petition fairly well so that it has the best chance of actually passing if it is in our best interest. And to that issue, I'd like to point out, I suppose, that just down the road, we do have a Meyer gas station that is very similar to what they're proposing here. And that has coexisted with the local businesses. Now, adding another one may, in fact, as our participant pointed out, have a negative effect on other businesses. We don't know that for sure. And hopefully that these businesses are creating loyal customers that wouldn't be affected by the addition of a new gas station. However, we don't know that. Now, to the petitioner, I have to question the petitioner on the petitioner's reference to Costco. I don't see the relevance of comparing the Kroger business model to the Costco business model, because to my knowledge, we don't have a Costco in Westland.
Right.
So what is the relevance of bringing that to our attention?
If I can, through the chair, just the fact that Costco is a private members only. There's two of them in Livonia, adjacent to your northern border. I brought that up simply to say that we're not a private club. We do give discounts for our customers, but we do cater to the street like any petroleum marketer. So that was the distinction. Purely that we are not a private entity. It's publicly available. You don't have to shop at Kroger to get gas at a Kroger gas station. That was the purpose.
Well, thank you very much for that. I do know that, speaking about Costco, I do know that they've been working quite heavily on their public image during this the Corona crisis. So I was kind of wondering why they were brought up in this context. I guess that ultimately follows the next question, which is what are you or what is Kroger prepared to do in order to be good neighbors to the other competing businesses that they will honestly, in all likelihood, be affecting, which ultimately I think was Lori Wilson's question.
Yes.
If I can, through the chair, we're trying to be a good neighbor by extending our services and provide the ability to get discounts to your residents. It's a part of our business model. In today's environment, the biggest difference between the application and this application is we've got the benefit of history on our side in that we've got another Kroger gas station at Cherry Hill and Merriman, and the fuel stations that are adjacent to it up and down the road are still there. So that's one thing I'd like to point out. The second issue is we need help with our competitors too, other grocers. And it's a simple, we don't build new grocery stores without fuel stations. This program has grown very rapidly over the country, and it's a good business model that has proved very beneficial to our customers and to our business. We need to stay healthy and well too. We're a very large grocer, traditional grocer in the country, and it helps our stores stay healthy and be able to reinvest. So much so that there are locations that we've taken the fuel stations down because the store sales expanded so much that we could expand the grocery store. So these aren't just discounts for our customers, but they also provide an avenue for us to reinvest in the store because over same store sales grow as a result of having a fuel station. So it's a very helpful thing to the health of the grocery store. It's not to hurt anybody. It's to improve our customers' experience and to keep our store healthy and competitive with the Myers of the world, which are down at Warren and Newburgh.
All right. Well, thank you very much for your answer. I know I'm asking difficult questions, but I assure you these are questions that you're going to hear again. And with that, I will cede the floor. I believe, Chairman Sharp, that Lori Wilson would like to be recognized.
No, I got Commissioner Williams first, and then I'll get back to Commissioner Wilson. Commissioner Williams.
That's fine.
No, I think most of my questions have been asked. I was wondering about the historical perspective, and Mo has updated me, and as well as you, Chair, and the other our other planning commissioner. I think it's really important to I think there's a tough balance that needs to be happening here. I heard very clearly from Steve, I think his name was, in terms of the impact this could have on the community. So while there's so many enhancements from Kroger, there's also the challenge of maintaining a viable city that has a balance to it. Kroger is a friendly, it's taken major risk in terms of accommodating our citizens, but I think this is a different opportunity or challenge for the city of Westland to look at how we can protect the community. I think the saturation issue is real and relevant at this point in time. And I guess I would like to know from the petitioner, I don't think the question was answered, besides the fact that I understand that the new development of Kroger has included gas stations. So that extends to the fact that that's been a profitable for your long run. How has the store done without the gas station in terms of the metrics of business acumen of this particular store? How has it, is it a viable store without the gas station? And I know that the gas station would create other opportunities, but where does this store as a standalone business stand in terms of Kroger's matrix for stores that are competitive as well as profitable? How does this stand as a standalone business?
If I can, through the chair, answer Commissioner Williams' question to the best of my ability, I can speak to the fact that we have represented more than 50 fuel projects in southeastern Michigan, and can attest to the positive impact that the fuel stations have brought to the grocery store and to the customers. I cannot speak to what the condition of the store if we don't have a fuel station is, other than to say it's part of our corporate identity. And as we move forward, we are not, I can earnestly say, we look for sites that can accommodate a fuel station. And if they can't, they're not built. As it relates, it just helps the general health and welfare of the grocery store and our customers.
Thank you. Thank you. Commissioner Wilson.
Yes, through the chair to the petitioner. At the Michigan Avenue and Merriman store, there is a gas station. It was owned by BP. They moved out and there was a McDonald's there. That was a viable corner that you could have put a gas station connected to Kroger's grocery store and made Kroger's grocery store better for the people. That is at a busy intersection at Michigan Avenue and Merriman. Granted, there's a 7-Eleven with a Citgo gas station across the street. Gas is high, is extremely high. But with your points, that could have brought the gas down on that corner. Now there's another gas station going in there where to me, it's a lost opportunity for Kroger's not to have utilized the building and the tanks, the pumps and things that were there. That could have been used to improve, and that monies could be put back into the store, as you said. Now, you also made a statement, sir, that you don't have to shop at Kroger's to use the Kroger's gas station. Well, in order to use the Kroger's gas station and get the points, you got to shop at Kroger's. So I'm trying to understand this as to why the buildings that you have existing are not being utilized and improved, but you want to put a new gas station at the corner of Ford and Central City. And that's the last thing I'm going to say on this whole thing, people, believe me.
Through the chair, if I can, Commissioner Wilson's questions. When it comes to purchasing or specifically the BP/McDonald's at the intersection of Michigan Avenue and Merriman, Kroger is part of their corporate governance. And I can tell you, we've suggested sites several times that we would love to build there, but there are factors that come into play. Purchasing operating gas stations, lots of them have environmental contamination and things of that nature. And Kroger, being very risk averse, buys clean land, and that's part of their governance. So there could have been conditions on that property at Michigan Avenue that who knows why it could have been price alone that wasn't considered. Like our mortgages at home, Kroger can only pay for what the projects will support. As it relates to the other point, and I've said this several times, and I'm a petroleum guy, so I forgive me for not being clear. When it relates to, you don't have to be a Kroger customer to shop at a Kroger gas station. It goes to the same thing. Back in the old days, when they would have 4 gas stations at a corner, they would all be priced similarly. That's what I was speaking to. As you drive down the road, nothing prohibits you from shopping or stopping at a Kroger gas station. That's what the street price is. So you can drive by like Shell, Mobil, or any other fuel station. If you're satisfied with the price, you can pull in and buy gas without the benefit of a discount from Kroger.
Thank you, sir. Commissioner Adam Stackhouse.
Yeah, through the chair to the Kroger representative, please. Once again, I'm still a little concerned about this property with the vacant building now. You own that property that vacant building is sitting on, correct?
Through the chair, that is correct. Kroger owns
Okay.
that parcel in its entirety.
Okay, so you own you own the property, the building is vacant, and so now we have a situation to where we have a vacant building with a lot, and that's the extent of it at this point in time. Is that correct?
Mm-hmm.
Well, that building has been vacant several times over the length of the original. They purchased that property with the intention of putting in a fuel station. And it went through in 2010, was approved by the Planning Commission, was summarily dismissed by City Council.
Mm-hmm.
Kroger was sitting on a closed restaurant parcel that they purchased. So they employed it as a training center. Right now, what we're trying to do is employ it as a fuel station to keep the existing Kroger grocery store healthy. And it, you know, if Kroger was looking historically, Kroger spent a large amount of money on that store in 2019, almost $2 million in a major remodel. So there's no worry about the store not being important to the Kroger family. We've just put a ton of money into that store. We're just trying to make it better for our customers and for Kroger and to keep it healthy. It's a very competitive market out there. And this model has helped our company stay healthy and be well for our customers. Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Any other questions? Adams Stackhouse?
No, I think that should do it. Thank you.
Commissioner Spezak?
No further questions. I'm prepared to make a motion.
I see no other questions, sir.
Rappaport has his hand up.
Pardon me?
Rappaport has his hand up.
Oh, I was actually just raising my hand to make the motion that I'd prepared. So if Andrew's beaten me to the punch by not raising his hand by using the computer button, by all means, Mr. Spizak, go ahead.
Move to close the public hearing and send case number 1690T to the administration. Recommend the petition be forwarded to City Council with the recommendation for approval contingent upon the existing shopping center identification sign being removed and replaced or upgraded.
Is there support?
Support.
Motion by Commissioner Spizak, supported by Commissioner Rappaport. Roll call, please.
Just give me 1 second. Okay, roll call vote to approve with contingency, case number 1690T, the proposed site plan for Kroger fueling station at Ford Road and Central City Parkway. Ken Sharp.
No.
Andy Spizak.
Yes.
Lori Wilson.
No.
Michael Williams.
No.
David Rappaport.
Yes.
Deborah Folks.
Yes.
Ruby Richards.
No.
Deanna Stachow.
Yes.
There are 4 yeses and
4 no's.
No's. So it fails. That'll be just noted in the city council packet, and it is what it. That's the outcome. So there's. I'll figure out how to word that, but that's what the motion is.
Very good.
Is there and Commissioner or Chairman, I guess if there's you want to make another motion to deny, I guess that's up to you, but I think we have the votes that we need right now.
Well, it's a tie vote, and I think it's presented to the city council at that.
Okay.
It'd be their determination from that point forward.
I agree. Okay.
All right, we will move into our next case, which is case 1884A, proposed land division 37550 Cherry Hill Road. Mr. Ahab.
Okay, thank you. We forgot to say goodbye to Matthew, but he already logged off. So just wanted to make it to that for the next applicants. Thank you, Chairman. Anyways, this let me. I'm going to share my screen for this one, and then I will exit out once it's time for the commission to
very good
speak. 1 second. You guys see anything?
Pretty sky in a tent.
Yeah.
Dr. Ayub, this is your desktop that's showing that the presentation.
I think we're going camping.
What about now?
Better.
Yes. Start your slideshow, please.
Yep.
See some of it. No, that's still from the
proposed land division.
Okay.
Oh, there's
nice.
the lap.
I like the sunrise.
Okay,
Sunset.
ready to roll?
Whichever.
Director Ayub, you do not have the presentation up.
You had it up and then it went away.
Okay, let me see what's going on here. Give me a second. You can see it right now, right?
Oh, there's the aerial, right.
Okay, the
When I
aerial.
go into slideshow,
You have the aerial up.
Yes.
Yes. Yes.
Yes.
Yes.
Yes.
Yes.
Oh,
You no longer have the aerial
I
up.
know it's going. I'm just gonna have to share it like this for now, unfortunately.
Very
I don't
good.
know why
I
it's
think everybody's aware of the aerial.
We had the material.
there it is.
You're back.
This is what we're talking about right now. So the subject site is located on the north side of Cherry Hill between Newburgh Road and the railroad. Right here. The site currently comprises this yellow outlined area is one site, and it currently comprises of 16.7 acres and is zoned I-1 light industrial. Today, the applicant is proposing to split the property into two parcels as noted on your screen. The red indicates the proposed split line. For those of you not aware, this is the location of the former Skateland, currently Hush Entertainment, a haunted house. They also do some light manufacturing in there for haunted house scenes and characters and things like that. The petitioner is currently actively marketing the new vacant property for development at the time this report was written. The resulting parcels are both compatible with the intent of the I-1 light industrial district and comply with the minimum lot width requirement of 100 feet and minimum lot size requirement of 10,000 square feet, both of which are required in the I-1 zoning district. Additionally, there are no setback encroachments or lot coverage deficiencies that result as a proposed from the proposed land division. So parcel A, this one is about 5.5 acres with about 320 feet of frontage along Cherry Hill. This one also has a similar arrangement in terms of frontage along Cherry Hill, but it's much larger, 11 acres in size. The administration and planning department are both recommending approval of this petition. This is the survey that I clipped out a portion of for the PowerPoint. You have the originals in your backup. This is the parcel outline, and this is the exact line for the split right here. Approximate building envelope right there. Happy to take any questions.
Hello.
Ken, do you want to?
You want to go back to the original screen? You're still showing the aerial?
Yes, you can see the survey.
No, you want to go back to the screen where, there we go. Now we're at.
There.
Mr. Rappaport, you had your hand up. Commissioner Wilson, I will get to you.
I did. Thank you very much. Mr. Planning Director, sir, the parcel currently is not currently serving as Skateland anymore. I understand there was a fire or some hazard there, and it has not yet or has not returned to business. Can you tell us anything about that?
So the current owner of Skateland, the building is operational. It's up and running as a haunted house. I think it's the largest, I don't want to say in the Midwest, certainly in Michigan. I think it's the largest haunted house in Michigan. It was operational last fall. There were, the line was crazy to get in, and the city did take a tour of it. Sam Durante joined us on that tour. It is up and running. There was a fire. You are correct. However, the owner made significant improvements to the interior of the building.
Now, the proposed land division, is that for redevelopment of the site, or is that in preparation for a sale of the site?
As described by the petitioner, who I believe is on the call, this resulting parcel A will remain unaffected as part of the haunted house. There will be no changes at this moment presented for the haunted house. The goal, I think, here is for parcel B. There will be some sort of development here. I don't know what that is, but it's being marketed, maybe already sold. I'm not sure. But the goal is to develop this portion right here, unrelated to the haunted house.
And am I correct in my belief that the so-called parcel B is primarily wooded, undeveloped land at this point?
At this point, you are correct. It's wooded, undeveloped.
Thank you very much.
You're welcome.
Commissioner Wilson.
Excuse me, I'm sorry. I just wanted to say, if there's no questions or concerns, I'm ready to make a motion.
I see none. Make a motion, please.
I recommend we send case number 1884A to the city council with a recommendation of approval as it meets the requirements of the proposed land division.
Support.
I support.
Got motion by Commissioner Wilson, supported by many. We'll go with Commissioner Spezak. He was first. Support. Roll call, please.
Roll call vote to approve case number 1884A, proposed land division at 37550 Cherry Hill Road. Ken Sharp,
Yes.
Andy Spezak,
Yes.
Lori Wilson,
Yes.
Mike Williams, Michael Williams,
Yes.
David Rappaport,
Yes.
Deborah Folks,
Yes.
Ruby Richards,
Yes.
and Deanna Stachow.
Yes.
8-0, the motion carries.
Is petitioner in the audience wishes to speak on this, or? I don't hear from him.
He has his hand raised.
Oh, very good. Mr. Bailey.
Hi, yeah. Thank you guys for all that. And if you have any other questions, just let me know. But yeah.
I don't see any other questions.
Good luck.
Good luck when you go to city council.
Truly.
All right. Good luck to you, sir.
Thank you.
Ken, there is a Lauren with her hand up. This is not a public hearing, so do it as you wish. But I just wanted to mention that Lauren has her hand up.
Lori does?
No. Lauren.
Okay, I don't see a Lauren on my screen, but Lauren, if you would like to speak. Oh, there you are. I didn't see a hand at all.
Hello.
Go ahead, Lauren.
Hello.
Yes.
Yes. Can you hear me?
Yes, we can.
Yes.
Okay. Very good. Well, I live behind this and was just kind of concerned at what was going to go in there and what I'm going to be living with.
We live directly behind the wooded area of the current property that has now been split. And the whole neighborhood that lives behind is very concerned on what was going to happen and how close something was coming in on.
There's no plan at this time. There's no plans before us. I think the property's for sale, but that's as far as I know at this point. Is that correct, Mr. Ayub?
Yes, sir. I'd like to have the person speaking recognize themselves by name and address so I can have a record. However, let me answer really quickly. This is a land division in anticipation of by the applicant and property owner to prepare the site and sell the site for development. That is the understanding right now, and that's what's being proposed at the moment. Only a land division of the property. There's no project, no identified occupant or developer at the moment.
Okay. You want me to say my address live?
Just your name is fine. Is it Lauren? Is it the one on the screen?
Correct.
Okay, thank you.
What does zone 11 mean?
What does zone 11 mean, if I can ask really fast?
Sure, really quickly. The entire city, all cities are split up into different zones. That's what allows your residential property to be surrounded by a neighborhood, and that's what allows Ford Road to be a commercial corridor. So I-1 stands for light industrial, and that is what the property is zoned, and that allows the property to be used for industrial purposes.
Okay, what would be an example of something that could go in there?
Something that could go in there would be light manufacturing. A truck dispatch facility is allowed. Haunted attractions similar, or any type of recreation amusement type facility similar to the haunted house would be permitted in the industrial district, although it's not an industrial use. Industrial type office settings would be permitted as part of a larger truck dispatch facility. There's a list, very large list on our zoning ordinance, City of Westland, under Planning Department.
would the owner consider selling
Okay.
parcels?
Is there any way to find out if the owner would ever consider selling a parcel to the neighborhood that adjoins it?
The owner's on the call. I don't know how to facilitate that transaction right now, but I mean, I think the motive behind this is for him to sell the property. So there might be a listing out there that you can check out.
Okay. Okay, thank you.
If you want to call me tomorrow morning at 7:30, do you have a pen and paper? I can maybe help get the owner to contact you.
I know that the property is currently listed for almost $1 million, which I obviously wouldn't be able to do that. But
I can provide it. It's up to you.
Okay. Okay, I have a paper. Go ahead.
It's 734-467-3219. My name is
3219.
Yes.
Okay. All right, great. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Have a good
You're
night.
welcome. Thank you. Thank you. We will move into our next case, which is case 2233, proposed land division, Wayne County Land Bank. And this proposal here is similar to the one that we had a while ago on Michigan and Warren, or on Michigan and Henry Ruff. It's a property that's owned by the county, and all they're looking to do is to split it off. Commissioner Ayu.
Thank you, Chairman. The site here is located on the east side of Merriman, just south of Ann Arbor Trail here. This is Merriman here. This is our former Hawthorne Valley Golf Course right here. This is all wetland, some of it's part of the Wayne County Park System. Some of it's owned by the land bank, individual property owner here, and several property
Are you
owners.
showing anything? I'm sorry, Mo, because there's nothing showing.
Are you not seeing anything?
No.
Okay, give me a second here.
Sorry about that.
No problem. I'm trying to do this one as fast as I can. Are you seeing it now?
Yes. Yeah.
Perfect.
Yes.
Okay. So again, the subject site here is east of Merriman, south of Ann Arbor Trail. This is the site here owned by the Wayne County Land Bank. This is individual property owner along with these private property. The city owns this Hawthorne Valley Golf Course site. And this is the Wayne County Park System, part of Edward Hines Park and Drive. The county is proposing to split this approximately 12-acre site. It's zoned R5, single family residential, along with all of this over here as well, shares the same zoning district. The reason for this split is the Wayne County Land Bank wants to donate this larger area here to the Wayne County Parks System, which is right here, right here, right here, and all of this right here. You're familiar with it. It's not buildable, so that's part of the reason of getting it off its rolls. And then parcel A, this parcel is a buildable parcel, so the land bank wants to hold on and control that piece for the time being. The city's trying to facilitate some sort of deal. The city's not going to be responsible involved financially, but we're just working with developers. Someone's interested in purchasing these parcels here from the chiropractor. There's a different single owner of this. Most of it's not buildable, but north of this line is over here to combine with this piece that is buildable for residential development around this area. So the Wayne County Land Bank is doing two things here. They're working with us facilitate that deal, and also donating this to the Wayne County Park System. That's the goal right now. There's no deviations that are needed for this from the zoning ordinance. It complies with the minimum lot size requirements in the R5. Parcel A is 2.5 acres. Parcel B is 9.78 acres. The planning department and administration are recommending approval.
Commissioner Wilson.
Through to the chair, to Mo. This, the way I'm looking at this, and I might be wrong, but this piece of property, this parcel A, the new parcel, it appears to be landlocked. So even if they did build, they'd have to construct into somebody's backyard. Am I right or wrong? Am I looking at this wrong?
So you could still see the aerial up on my screen or no?
No, I'm looking at the aerial in my packet.
Okay, I want to share this real quick, so just give me less than 20 seconds.
Okay.
Can you see it now?
Yes, I can.
Okay, so right now the way the property is situated, eliminating the proposed parcel from your memory, it's landlocked anyways. So yes, the new parcels are both still going to be landlocked. This is going to be donated to the park system, which is right here. There could be an easement with the city, or the city could decide to split this off and also donate this to the park system. This is not buildable here either. It's in a floodplain.
Right.
However, this piece, and these pieces, the goal is to assemble all of these for a residential development. If that happens, the residential development will have access from Liberty Avenue, which dead ends right here, right now. Can you see that?
So they would have, at the point of this piece of property, they'd have to build a road. Am I correct?
Yeah. Sidewalk, roads, lights, homes, sure, yes.
Okay, because right now what it looks like, the road would be in these people, beside these people's houses. All right, that's my question.
Okay.
I have a question. Sorry. What is landlocked? What does that mean?
So landlocked, you see how this piece of land here does not have any access from any roadway, similar to Hawthorne Valley has access from Merriman, direct access.
Yes.
That's what landlocked means. You can't get to this parcel unless you travel upon someone else's private parcel.
Okay, thank you.
Okay. Question?
Yes, Commissioner
yeah.
Adam Stackhouse.
Yeah, through the chair to Mo. You had mentioned that in the area where the new parcel is and Liberty Road, those homes are individually owned by these people, correct?
The ones along Liberty
Yes.
Avenue? That's
yes.
correct, yes.
Okay, so then as you go to Liberty, at the end, there's a dead end. Who then who owns that piece of parcel that's directly next to the new parcel?
You're talking about this large L-shaped piece right here?
Yes, the one that's right next to our red triangular parcel. Who owns that piece? Right there, yes.
I can't see what you're pointing.
It's right at the south end of Liberty.
But your arrow is in the correct spot.
Right here.
County property.
Yeah,
If
because
you're
it
talking
goes.
about this one, this is a private individual that owns this, separate from the person that owns this and these.
Oh.
There's a few individuals involved in making sure that this goes through.
Yeah.
And
So then at this point, that wouldn't. I'm
ahead.
sorry. Go ahead. Yeah.
This is in the process of being tax foreclosed too. So we're working with the land bank and the treasurer's office to see if they could strike a deal. There's a lot of moving pieces to the project. I'll just say that, but this is doing two things. It's doing biggest priority right now for the land bank is to get this piece off its roll and donate it to the park so they can expand their park area. And then this piece, there's a lot of moving pieces to it. However, they are going to be working with us to get that accomplished, hopefully.
Okay. Because I just see that if the city chose to try and utilize that red triangular new parcel area, there would be a situation that we would have to be concerned with because you have several different owners. The people that are on Liberty, the person that owns that parcel. It just seems like it'd be a little a problem for us later on down the road.
Well, right now, the city won't own that piece of property. It's just they're separating it. Nobody owns it but them. They're just separating it at this time.
Oh, I
The
see.
city has they've got no dogs in the hunt, if you want to use an old cliche. At this point, they don't own the property.
Right.
The land bank wants to split that off. That would
there
be
was
down the road if something happened, but nothing now.
Okay, yeah, I just know that there was something noted that that the interest was there by the city. So okay, thank you.
Any other questions? Commissioner Spezak.
No questions. I'm prepared to make a motion.
Commissioner Williams, did you have a question?
No.
Okay.
Rappaport.
Spezak.
Yeah, I just wanted to make a clarification. For our commissioners who had a question about the landlocked nature of the triangular portion, the law actually says that we cannot. The statute actually requires that our action in creating a land division cannot cause a parcel to become landlocked. So this parcel is already landlocked, and therefore all we're doing is facilitating a possible use for it in the future. So for those of us who either didn't know what landlocked actually meant, obviously it means that that there has to be some way to get to the property.
Very good. Thank you. Commissioner Spezak.
Thank you.
Administration and Planning Department recommended this petition, case 2233, be forwarded to the City Council with a recommendation for approval.
Support.
Motion by Commissioner Spezak, supported by Commissioner Foltz. Roll call, please.
Before I take roll call, it looks like there's a Jen Covey in attendees who has her hand raised. This item is not a public hearing, so.
I see that. I don't see that on my screen, but go ahead, sir. Okay, now I see it.
Yeah, good afternoon. Thanks for taking the time. My name is Doug Cecil. I live on Carousel. Lived on this street 50 years of my life. My parents still live on the street. I bought a house here about 25 years ago. I guess my biggest concern with this is everybody on this street, me and my 25 neighbors, we bought these houses because of the view, because it was a golf course. The abundant amount of wildlife that is on this golf course or this wetland now, I mean, I could list off 25 different species of animals that occupy this space now for one. Personally, I've been taking care of about 2.5, 3 acres, mowing the grass back here for about 6 years, trimming trees and keeping this nice because it's the way we like it. I guess my biggest fear is they're going to try to build houses or something, and now my home is going to back to that when I paid a premium for this house when I bought it because of the view and it not backing to anything. So I've definitely got some concerns. I know this is in the infancy stages and they're not talking about who's buying it or what they want to do with it. But where Liberty ends, there's several homes on that street, and there's just a small thoroughfare into that property on that triangle, which is going to back to a bunch of homes on Carousel. And I have a huge concern with that. And I have a huge concern with the wildlife and where that wildlife is going to go as well.
Very good. Thank you. I see we have other names up there. Janet?
Yes. Hi, I'm Janet Berger, and I'm on Carousel also. And my home backs up to the parcel you are talking about. And I do have the same concern. We bought this home at a premium price because it was a golf course. The golf course closed. Now we have no neighbors behind us. That was the whole purpose of us buying our home, to not have neighbors behind us. And it's always been told to us that this is a floodplain area. They could never build on it. We were told that when we bought this home. And that's a concern also, that our property values will go down. And the concern also is the wildlife that's out there. It's something we enjoy.
Very good. Colin, are you there? Colin, are you there?
Can you hear me?
Yes, yes, you can.
Hi. I'd just like to introduce myself. I'm the property manager at the Wayne County Land Bank. And
Very good, sir.
Yeah. So I just want to talk about, we have reached an agreement with the county's parks to have 9 of those 12 acres added to the Hines Park. So that's that. The northern section is right now, we don't have anything, no deal set right now, but we're working with the city to find the best outcome for the property.
Thank you. Thank you, Colin. Anyone else? Anyone else?
Roll call.
Well, let's go back to the start. Commissioner Spezak, you made the motion. Commissioner Folks, you seconded, correct?
Correct.
Roll call, please.
Okay, roll call vote to approve case number 2233, proposed land division for the Wayne County Land Bank. Ken Sharp.
Yes.
Andy Spezak.
Yes.
Lori Wilson.
Yes.
Mike Williams. Michael Williams.
Yes.
David Rappaport.
Yes.
Deborah Folks.
Yes.
Ruby Richards.
Yes.
And Deanna Statchov.
Yes.
Thank you. Thank you. Thanks for everyone's comments. We will move into our next case, which is a public hearing. It's case 2234, proposals special land use for indoor recreational airsoft arena. Mr. Ayu.
Let me just get this up and running. You guys see that?
Yes. Yep.
Perfect. All right. Subject property here is located on the northwest corner of Ford Road and Wildwood. The applicant is requesting special land use approval for an indoor recreational airsoft arena. In this space, it's approximately 24,000 square feet, and it's between Heartland Market and Ollie's Outlet. The property comprises, the entire property outlined there in yellow, including parking lot, comprises of about 14 acres and is zoned CB2, shopping center commercial district. The petitioner proposes no exterior renovations, but will build out the interior. The arena play area will be an open space that can be transformed into different scenes and themes for play. In addition to the play area floor, the indoor space will include a game room for guests who are waiting, a seating area for consuming food that is delivered or prepared off-site, and a small retail operation. I'll show you the floor plan in a second.
I found this on the web.
I'm sorry. There will be no food service at the facility, and similar uses are outlined in your packet. Gave you a chance to look into those. For those watching, Motor City Arena in Clinton Township, Commandos in Roseville, and the model that this individual is copying, and he's working with the owner of Nashville Airsoft. Adjacent land uses, I think is important. It's listed in your backup. Access and parking. The existing shopping center has 3 access points at Ford Road and 2 at Wildwood. The overall shopping center contains 840 off-street parking spaces. The zoning ordinance requires a minimum of 750 spaces for the overall site, including the proposed use. Probably fair to say that it's well over parked. Therefore, the site contains adequate access and parking. The site contains a 6-foot tall vinyl screening fence along the west side and north side of the site to screen from activity for the adjacent residential uses, and there's a 20-foot berm along the entire frontage of Ford Road and some sides of Wildwood. The hours of operation mentioned by the owner are Monday through Thursday, 5 p.m. through 10 p.m., and Friday through Sunday, 11 a.m. through 10 p.m. The owner did mention that his busiest days and hours will be during the weekend. However, there will be potential customers in the form of groups, work groups, or people coming from office buildings as part of team building activities to the facility. The proposed use will operate similar to a laser tag facility, not in terms of what's being actually played, but the entire design and operation, people coming in, checking in, potentially renting equipment and things like that. With that said, granting of special land use approval will not be detrimental to the orderly development of this area or have a negative impact on the adjacent uses. With that said, there was a concern that was discussed with the owner, brought up earlier today, and that is how are clients going to, or customers rather, going to be bringing their, yes, sir.
I'm sorry, I had some accident. Go ahead, keep going.
Okay. The concern was how are individuals going to be bringing in their recreational guns into the facility, and will they be able to do that? The answer is yes. They will be required to have them locked in a case. The owner can talk about that a little bit more, but that was discussed with the owner after the owner stated that they have to be locked in cases. That kind of mitigated the concern. So that's something the Planning Commission may want to discuss further. With that, the Administration and Planning Department both recommend approval. Here's a site plan that was provided, and here's a shot of what, where rather, it's going to be between Market and Ollie's. That's it. Chairman, if you have any questions, I'd be happy to answer.
I see none. We will ask our participant if he has anything he wishes to add. Al, are you there? Al, do you have anything you wish to add?
Yes. Hello.
Yes.
Can you hear me?
Yes, we can.
Oh, okay. I'd just like to introduce myself. I'm Ali Hamade. Yeah, I would like, you know, most questions that are always asked is basically, you know, is it safe? I mean, airsoft guns could look like regular firearms. And, you know, what do the BBs consist of, and how fast are they going? So as far as the pellets are concerned, they are biodegradable. And when you shoot it, skin, I mean, even your own skin can hit it. It's fine. But as far as any sport that has to do with Nerf or airsoft or paintball requires mask, only because there's eyes, of course, and facial features. But prior to arrival, all airsoft guns must be stored, secured, and carried inside a bag, case, or box, no exceptions. I mean, this is just, you know, all the airsoft arenas nationwide. That is the rule. There is no exception to that rule. Anyone enters the facility without a case, it's sealed, they're asked to leave, or possibly, you know, we have to actually take the gun, but most of the times we don't. As far as the illegalities, as you all probably know, in the state of Michigan, orange flash hiders are mandatory, and you must be actually 18 or older to legally own an airsoft gun. A larger caliber and high power air pistols are considered to be firearms by the state of law. That is why the frame per second, it's all spring loaded. You can't even come in there at more than 25 frames per second. Sorry, not frames per second, FPS. So basically, we actually test all the FPSs. They have to shoot the actual gun. Will have, you know, a place where it's like a little range that has a balloon. and it tests the velocity, it tests the speed of the gun before it enters the arena. And that's another precaution we take. Airsoft guns can reasonably be considered, an imitation firearm. And, I'm sure we could all agree to that. But the state, has proposed legislation prohibiting any change or alteration, or even coloration of, any markings on these guns. And throughout the years, they've been very strict on that. And if you actually look at an airsoft gun now, if you go to Dunham's or you go to anywhere to purchase one, you'll see it's very lightweight. It has the orange tip. You can't take them off anymore. You'd have to actually saw them off, and the gun wouldn't work anymore. So I know there might be a security questions that you guys might have, and I'm ready to answer them. So.
Very good. Thank you, Al. This is a public hearing, so we will open it up to our citizens, and then we'll bring it back with you and our commissioners. So is there anyone citizen that wishes to speak on this? Is there anyone that wishes to speak? Commissioner Hart, do you wish to speak on this? Councilman Hart.
No, I don't. I never raised my hand, so if I accidentally clicked it, I do apologize.
Right. Councilman Landau, do you wish to speak on this? Councilman Landau does not have audio.
He did not raise his hand,
Okay.
Chairman.
We will open it up to Commissioner Wilson.
Good evening. It's getting late. What are your requirements through the state? What is your protocol for security outside of the building and people carrying these weapons, because I'm gonna call them a weapon, into the building? Because I did go to your commando site. I went to the commando site that Mo suggested we go to, and all I saw was ARs and high velocity pistols and things like that. And I'm trying to understand, how do you play a game of war?
Okay, well, so basically, the way the recreational airsoft works is, let's answer the first question. As far as people coming to our facility and going into the parking lots and then entering the facility with their airsoft guns, like I said before, I mean, they have to be encased and they can't even enter the facility. And as far as security is concerned, we do hire 2 security guards outside the building. They wouldn't be even permitted to loiter or stand around the vicinity next to the alleys or even next to the supermarket. I mean, we're very aware that guns are not permissible. But like anything else, as far as the airsoft is, if you look at the game itself, it's not really a war game. In actuality, it's a morale builder game. And we've seen children all the way to corporate America use these games to relieve stress, anxiety. It allows them to be team players. It actually,
Purge.
I'm sorry?
Sounds like the Purge.
Actually, no. So it's, well, I mean, you can't, if it's the thing is the pellets inside the bullets, you wouldn't be able, I mean, in the arena, you wouldn't be able, but as far as them seeing the guns themselves, I mean, like I said, they have the orange tip, it's state law, or it's called the orange flash hiders. They're mandatory. And also, we took it a step further where we have what you call a cap on the gun. And all guns must have a cap, and they extend all the way to the back of the gun. So in the front of the gun, there's a pouch, and it extends all the way to the back of the gun. And that enables it as like kind of a safety, even inside the casing. So even if they open it inside our building, they wouldn't be able to do anything. And in the back of the building, as Mr. Mohammed mentioned, is the prepping area. It's where the teams get together, they sit on their benches, and this is where they fill up their little airsoft, the little clips and whatnot. And then they actually get tested before they enter the facility for FPS. So basically, how fast is it going? Because nothing's allowed faster than 25. And they go to play. I mean, that's all it is, really. If you look in St. Clair Shores, and I've seen their facility, I've actually been to their facility. Outside, the most thing you ever see is somebody sitting around, probably he'll be having a cigarette, and he'll be in his Army uniform. Because, they do prep it up, like, they get really into it, and they wear their little Army get up, and they go in and they, and that's the most I've ever seen. So, I mean, I don't know, as far as the laws are concerned, as long as they're following them as the orange flash hiders, just would they go to play, and that's what we wanted to do.
I was online today and I witnessed a woman in a costume who had.
I had a question.
I'm sorry, who had one of these airsoft guns, and the police actually took her down. So I'm fearful of that happening. I'm done.
Any other questions?
I have my hand raised.
Okay.
Whether it's going to be security there or not, will these guns get scanned? I mean, will they go through something? Because how will you know if they're real or not?
Well, again, Mrs. Richards, I don't know if you ever held an airsoft rifle or even a gun. An airsoft rifle or gun is considerably less weight than any handgun or rifle. So if you take the actual law itself and when they made it in the state of Michigan, so basically all airsoft rifles have specific, like the orange tips. They have certain colors to them. For instance, if you look at the hand side or in the front, they'll have red, green, and blue. Those are the indications.
So if they was to open a case and you see this, you'll say, oh, okay, you can go in.
Oh yeah, absolutely, Mr. Richard. If you actually hold an airsoft gun and we go hold a regular gun, you'll feel, not only see the significant difference.
No, I understand that, but will the people scan, the security, will they actually be taking the guns out and looking, or are you going to just open the case?
Yes, ma'am. They would not be able to enter the facility. Well, I'm sorry, not facility. They would not be able to enter the actual arena without us opening all the cases and checking the weapons before they even enter the arena. Yeah.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, you're welcome.
Commissioner Folks.
How exactly does this work? Are you shooting at a target or are you shooting at each other? I've never been in one of these facilities.
Yeah, it's actually pretty fun. So basically what it is funny, people, what they do is they create groups. So let's say we had 50 people coming in, 25 person to a group, 25 person group, they really get to know each other. And what they do is we have 2 referees. And basically what these referees do, we'll have, hey, whoever shuts this off first wins the game. And basically every time you get hit, you have to actually go back to the line to get reborn again, to come back into the game. And basically whoever hits that button in the middle actually wins the tournament. And they get prizes to win the tournament and whatnot. Now the actual shooting part, so how can I put it? So a Nerf gun, you could think of the fastest Nerf gun out there, and once you shoot it, you ever got hit with a Nerf gun before?
No.
No. Okay, well, I mean, what it is, so have you ever seen, back in the days, the movies, that Daisy, the Daisy BB gun? That kid who always, yeah. Okay, and then you'll shoot your eye out type of deal. Okay, well, that is probably 40 times stronger than the pellet that we use in airsoft. It's light as a hair, and when it hits you, the way airsoft works is you have to hit the weapon in bursts in order to actually feel like you're out. Because most kids, they'll wear jackets, just so younger children, like at the age of 10 to 12, they don't want to feel that little that prickling feeling. So they'll wear a jacket. You don't feel it, you'll hear it. So it's like kind of a burst, and then they walk away, and they're all biodegradable. So all the ammunition is actually biodegradable. It dissolves.
So you wear protective gear,
Yeah, so
body?
the only gear that's mandated in airsoft is headgear, which is face gear. And it has to cover your full face or you're not allowed in the facility. As far as hands, I mean, it's all preference and pain. I mean, what I mean by pain is some people can take a bee sting and some people can take can't take any things. So they'll wear gloves, they'll wear a sweater so they don't actually feel it on their skin and it hits them and you can actually hear it. It'll say pink, you know, you'll feel it because it actually like, and it falls right on the ground. And then, you know, you're out. Once you get reborn again, you come back into the game till the first team turns off the, you know, that button and they win the game.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Commissioner Rappaport.
Yeah, thank you very much, Chairman Sharp. So I certainly understand the trepidation with regard to the entire concept of using a firearm for entertainment. I do know a few things about this this entertainment form. It is very well established. These weapons are very, very highly engineered so that they're not actually capable of penetrating the skin. They can do damage to the eyes, which is why face masks are required. And if, by the way, if I say anything that anybody knows is absolutely false, please do correct me. One of the major differences that you can see just by looking at an airsoft weapon is quite a number of them are made out of plastic, which it is a federal crime to produce an actual firearm out of plastic. Similarly, I'm a little bit moved and satisfied that the petitioner is stating that he intends to have a staging area where they check and make sure that each weapon that is going to be used is going to be tested and made sure that everybody's working with the same level of power, an approved level of power for their airsoft firearm. Other than that, unless anybody has further, I am prepared with a motion.
Okay, I have one question, then I'll get back to you. My question.
I'll hold off to be recognized for my motion.
Thank you. Back to the commissioner. Early on, you talked about the age 18, but then recently you said the age 10 to 12. Is there an age limit for this?
Okay, well, that's where it changed. The state of Michigan does not have an age limit to play recreational airsoft arena, but it does require right now actually to purchase an airsoft gun that has, so there's two types of airsoft guns, Mr. Sharp. There's one with the CO2 and there's the spring action. So spring action has no required age. The CO2 must be actually purchased by someone of 18 years old. It's the CO2.
Are they able to use the CO2 in the facility that we're talking about?
Yes, if they're of the age of 18 or older.
How do they muscle down a CO2?
Well, the thing is, if you open the gun, when you actually have the gun, you'll know the difference between the spring and, because one is electric. So one is a battery. If you take the clip out, it's a battery. The other one, you take the clip out, it's a CO2 tank. That's exactly how you would know the difference between the difference between those two. But going back to the, sorry, I don't want to lose my train of thought. Yeah, that's, as far as the basis of age goes, I do know that most of them are all spring and battery operated. The CO2 one, we do not want in our facility, because here's the thing, the CO2 one is used mainly for outdoor, because while 35 FPS is allowed for airsoft indoor, And I wanted to mention this to you guys that I will not accept but 0.25 grams for my BBs. There's no BBs allowed to be, in those guns unless they're 0.25 grams, even though state is 35 at 350 frames per second, where you can get up to 800 frames per second. But in my building, I won't allow more than 350 frames per second, which is 5% leeway. It has about 5% leeway. And the reason I do this is because a lot of these guys, they'll come in, you get the older crowd, you get the younger crowd coming in, and basically I have to make sure that they all understand that, hey, you want to go on your own private property, do your own thing. This is more of, a family event, more of a public event. And that's why we lowered it to 0.25. Usually it's 0.30. And that's the speed. But going back to the age, Mr. Sharp, like I said, CO2, you would open the clip, you'd know it's a CO2 tank. If you open the clip again on a spring action, it would be battery operated.
So if I understand you, you do not allow CO2s in your building?
No, not inside, no, absolutely not.
I know no way to restrict the velocity of a CO2 cartridge.
Yeah, there's no way. But the spring battery operated, manufactured, they usually manufacture them anywhere between 30. You can get about 350. Well, that's the lowest. Well, 300 is the lowest, but then you can go up to 800 frames per second. It all depends on how they mod it. But there can't be modded on spring. I mean, basically spring action, battery operated. It's exactly what you're purchasing. If it says 350 frames per second, that's what you're purchasing.
All right, and that was my understanding. So you're saying absolutely no CO2 cartridges in your building?
No, sir, not in that recreational indoor sport. Now,
that answers my question.
Okay.
Commissioner Rippert.
Thank you very much, Chairman Sharp. If there are no further comments, I'd like to make a motion at this time. Is that in order?
Yes, sir.
Very well then. At this time, I'd like to move to close the public hearing, waive the normal rules, and send case number 2234, special land use, to City Council with a recommendation for approval as the use meets the standards of Westland zoning ordinance, Article 13, Section 13.4 of Ordinance number 248, conditioned upon a written proposal, the addition of a written plan outlining the security measures and the safety measures that were discussed today. In not limited to, but definitely including the fact that CO2 cartridge weapons will not be permitted. And otherwise, as the department shall require or recommend.
Support? Looking for support?
I'll support it.
Motion by Commissioner Rappaport, supported by Commissioner Spezak. Send this forward to City Council with the recommendation for approval. To the petitioner, are you in agreement with Commissioner Rappaport's statement about putting that in writing, about the rules and no CO2s and everything being regulated?
Yes, Commissioner Sharp.
Thank you very much. Roll call, please.
Roll call vote to approve case number 2234, proposed special land use for an indoor recreational airsoft arena at 344-204 Road, contingent upon a written security and safety plan. Ken Sharp.
Yes.
Andy Spezak.
Yes.
Lori Wilson.
I have a question before I vote. Did we actually hear from the public since this was a public hearing?
Good point.
Anybody for public hearing?
This is a public hearing, Commissioner Wilson. My apologies.
Okay, I was just wondering.
Is there anyone from the public who wishes to speak on this item? Anyone? Anyone? Continue with roll call.
Lori Wilson.
Yes.
Michael Williams. Michael's no longer with us. David Rappaport.
Yes.
Deborah Folks.
Yes.
Ruby Richards.
Yes.
And Deanna Stachow.
No.
6-0. Motion carries.
One no.
That's 6-1.
6-1.
I'm sorry, 6-1. I'm sorry, 6-1.
Okay. Very good. That is everything on our agenda. Mr. Ayub, do you have anything else?
I do not at this time. Thank you very much. Have a great night, everyone.
Well, before you go, I want to say thank you to our new commissioners, and you've learned everything that we have learned because this is our first occasion with it. So, they're not going to be able to trick you with anything because you know everything we know now.
One thing,
Ain't much.
ladies.
It's been nice with
It's not a
seeing you
lot.
guys.
Not going to get you far in the world, but one more question to you, Mo. Do you want these materials returned you or do we just recycle them?
Either recycle them or hang them up as your first virtual meeting.
Very good, sir. I think
I wish the mothers happy Mother's Day.
Oh, yeah.
Yes. Happy Mother's Day.
Mother's Day coming.
We could really get used to this too. You don't even have to go anywhere.
Oh, no
Stay
way.
home.
Is your motion to adjourn?
So moved.
Who motioned that?
I did. I don't care. Well, somebody did.
Lori motioned to adjourn, second by Commissioner Spezak. All in favor, aye?
Aye.
Aye.
Good
Thank
night.
you, everyone.